Good evening here on the Central Riverhawks YouTube channel. I'm Joel McCall, visiting now with Thaddeus Peterson. He is the head coach for the Central Riverhawk cross country teams. They wrapped up their season last Saturday at Lindy Fields. That was where their sectionals were. First of all, Coach Peterson, thank you again for your time. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joel. It's great to be here. Great to be here as a coach for the Riverhawks, and great to talk to all of you out there, giving us your effort and your time. So thanks for being here with us, and thanks, Joel.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about your sectionals. First of all, I don't know where Lindy Fields is, and I couldn't find a location on it. So where did you go, and how did the teams run?
Sure, yeah. Do you mind if I talk about conference championships
I was
first?
going to go back to that after
Okay,
sectionals.
cool. I would love to talk about sectionals then. So we, um, to my knowledge, it's been over 20 years. We used to be in a sectional with Eau Claire teams and Superior. So Eau Claire, Menominee, New Richmond, and then Superior would come down and we would go up north to join them.
Sure.
This year, they at the request of a number of different coaches for a number of different reasons, they took a look at all of the sectionals again and they aligned them differently. So instead of heading up to Eau Claire, we headed a little bit southeast over to the Madison region. So now we're with schools such as Wanakee and Middleton, Madison East, DeForest, and a few others that I'm not too familiar with. So that was the first time that we've been in this sectional. So this sectional meet was hosted by DeForest and really at one of their soccer complexes. So a very different feel from the cross country course that we ran on for our conference championships, and also a different feel from a lot of the other courses we run on. Very flat, very open. It was very windy on the day that we ran. It started off beautiful and 50, and then it turned cloudy and a little bit of spitting some rain at us, and then pretty windy through those. So the conditions were a challenge for a lot of our runners, and for a lot of the other teams as well. But yeah, it was great to see different competition. We didn't have an opportunity to race against a lot of those schools during the season, so it was nice to go down to the Madison area and test our mettle against those other teams.
Well, how did things go as far as the runners and times then? Because as you said, that is a much different course. You're looking at something that's, I mean, almost like a track. If you're talking the soccer fields, I can't imagine that there's much up and down.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, there were two hills. The first was more like a berm, about 20 to 25 feet in height. It took the runners maybe 10 steps to get up on top of it. And just really, it was the elevation between one set of soccer fields up to another set of soccer fields. And then the only hill on the course was a steady 85, maybe 100-meter hill, that just went around a wooded area, a grassy area. And then the student athletes made their way back down to the lower soccer field from there. One of the other challenging factors in the course were a lot of sharp turns, something that we're not traditionally used to in a cross country setting, but because of the environment, it was just another challenge for us to deal with. So yeah, we had unlike our conference championships where almost all of our student athletes set either a personal record, so that would be the fastest they've ever ran, or a season's best, which would be the fastest that they've ran this season. We only had one student athlete set a personal record or a season's best at our sectional meet, and that was a junior by the name of Bodie Nestler. He came on strong from the beginning and really ran a great race. And across our boys team and across our girls team, they all put forward a great effort. There were, as I was talking with other coaches, the general feel of the day was most of our runners didn't have a very strong race. And be that as it may, I think everybody had to deal with those conditions. So I think when it all shook out at the end, I think the student athletes did the best that they could. And we did have champions that were crowned, and they'll be heading on to state. And I think Central had a strong showing. We had a stronger showing this year than last year, which is nice to be able to say.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the conference meet was that was on the 12th up at Maple Grove. So run through the MVC for us as you get settled.
Sure. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, that took place. I'll just cover for you. So yeah, that was the conference meet was the 12th at Maple Grove. As we talked about the sectionals, that took place just this past Saturday. So Coach Peterson can get a chance to talk all about the conference and how things went for the boys and girls cross country.
Great. Sorry about this.
Okay.
Little unexpected chatter in the house this evening. Hopefully it'll get a little clearer here as come back and find me. I can't say enough about how well the student athletes ran at our conference championships. We always talk, and I know I mentioned this when we spoke earlier this season, and I know I mentioned it last season, but we always talk about the 1%. So my argument for them is that, there's all this data out there. I've got all their times. I know how fast they're running. I can say, well, you should be able to hit this mark. And that's really easy to say as a coach, right? Like, oh, you guys can do this. You can hit this mark. But behind all of that chatter, behind all of those statistics is really a belief, right? And they have to believe it more than I do. Me having faith in them is just part of being a good coach. But teaching them and encouraging them to have faith in themselves and have faith in their teammates is really a skill. And that's a lifelong skill that they can take when they leave the time with us at Central, and they can apply that to so many different facets of their life. So when we're getting ready and preparing for our conference championships and for our sectional championships, I call it championship season. We talk about that 1%. I'm like, just give me 1%. We practiced what a decrease in 1% would look like for them. Practiced different paces that they'd have to run. I show them, if you cut 1% off your time for this season, what that new time would look like. And we had a student athlete, one of our boys, Lyndon Torkelson. He went from running in the 18s to running in the high 17s. We had on our girls' side, we had a number of again season's best and PRs, and that 1% just was decimated. I mean, they just did such a great job, really attacking at the MVC meet. And again, when you look at the statistics and when you look at the hard numbers, if you were to say, hey, I saw the team results for the MVC meet, or I saw the individual results and it didn't look like Central did very well. What you're not seeing is the fact that almost all of the times that we ran at the MVC championships were season's bests or PRs. And in addition to that, when you take the times from last year's team and compare it to this year's team, and this was true at sectionals as well, we had a better showing as a team this year, which tells me a lot about growth. We didn't lose very many seniors last year. We lost 5 total. We lost 2 girls and we lost 3 boys. And now we're saying that with this new crop of freshmen that we have, with the growth and the strength that was shown with our current juniors, seniors, sophomores, they were really able to come through and have an excellent performance, which that's what I want. That at the end of the day, that's what we want. That's what we all want to be able to say as coaches is that, these kids put in the effort, they put in the work, and they're getting better. And that's great.
Yeah, that's that's all you can ask for. And all you can ask for is the kids to, develop those new times and make sure that they're pushing themselves, as you said, give that extra 1%. You were talking about seniors. Let's go through some of those that we'll say goodbye to the cross country side of the program, but you'll probably see again at track season in the spring.
Definitely. So this year is COVID year. So all of the seniors who are on whatever sport team they're on, all those folks who participate in extracurricular activities and our sporting activities, um, they were all the ones who for Central in the fall, their season was shut down. So all of the seniors who play on our volleyball team, football team, tennis team, um, those folks didn't have a traditional fall season back in 2020. So we in cross country we moved forward with what was a shortened version of a spring season, and from that group, we've only maintained one of our seniors, and that's Jordan San Miguel, and I'm exceptionally proud of the work that he's done on our team, not only enduring what was really a life-changing experience. It was a difficult time to run cross country. There was snow at the first practice. There was snow at the first meet. We had a number of different challenges that you don't traditionally see. So I'm exceptionally proud of the work that he's done with our team. The growth and the leadership that he's shown over the last 4 years is really immeasurable. And I'm thankful for the leadership that he has. So he'll definitely be missed. In addition to Jordan, we had a new senior join us this year. His name's Carson Jolly. He comes to us from track. He's a 400-meter guy. Thought that he would like to test out his endurance and keep himself in shape for the track season. So he came on, was running varsity for us all year. He ended up with 1904 as his season's best. Didn't finish in the sectional race as strongly as he would have liked, but again continued to maintain that varsity status for us. And I think given the conditions and given all of the other mental struggles and difficulty on the course, I think he had a really great race. So on the boys side, we lose those two gentlemen. On the girls side, we don't have any seniors. So again, it was we didn't get any girls to come out that COVID season, for probably a number of different reasons.
Right.
But I'm thankful that we have three juniors and they're strong. And again, all of our three juniors are on varsity for us. They all ran really well at conference, and they put forward their best effort at sectionals, and thankful that they're going to be around, and we are looking forward to their leadership again next season.
Well, and you'll be asking them, I'm sure some of them, not maybe you don't want to demand it, but you want to see them again at track, of course,
Yeah.
because you're heading that too. What is the off-season plan? What do you kind of ask these kids to do throughout the winter if they're not, say they're not going out for track, or even if they are going out for track?
Yeah, so for us, there's that expectation that even if you're not going to be participating in track, maintaining that aerobic endurance will always be beneficial for the long run. And not only, I guess selfishly, I would say, cross country for me isn't just a sport that has a season. Running for me is a lifelong sport. It's a lifelong activity. It's something that I engage in and as an adult, and it's something when I was done with my own high school cross country career, I was fortunate enough to find local 5Ks and find local races and a good group of supportive friends that also engaged in that activity. And that's one of my goals as a coach is, this isn't just something that we can do for 10 or 11 weeks out of the year.
Right.
This is a lifelong skill set that I can give you the tools to be able to achieve on your own outside of this environment. So we always talk about aerobic endurance and what it means to continue to build that. So we do have a winter training plan, and that winter training plan for us essentially starts the 1st of December and then runs through what's basically the first week of March. And then we pick up with our track season. So we'll start out with something light, runs of 3 to 4 days a week. And then from there, we'll build and throw in some speed work and try to get them ready for our track season. It's challenging, of course, running through the winter in Wisconsin. I think our student athletes do a good job really promoting that team atmosphere and going out with one another. Unfortunately, I can't lead any of those practices.
Right.
but I can provide a template for you should do these things and this will help you. So that's kind of where I step back from the season. And, if I see them as they're about to head out for a run, as I'm heading home for the day, it's always great to get in touch with them. With the technology that we have right now, being able to post your runs online through apps like Strava, I can kind of see what they're doing,
That's
even
cool.
though I'm not with them. So that's really nice to be able to check in on them that way and continue to encourage them and point them in the right direction.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Well, we wish you and the kids the best of luck moving forward for cross country. I know I'll be looking forward to talking with you during the track season and finding out how things go in that regard as well. Coach Peterson, thank you so much for being a part of the YouTube channel and our interviews throughout the season for cross country.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Joel. We appreciate it.
You bet. That's Coach Peterson then. I'm Joel McCall. Thank you so much for tuning in here on the Central Riverhawks YouTube channel.